And then you look at the NFL, the 3-month extended stay-at-home order for California teams. I would assume that the NFL, and I think it's already been said, they're looking for potential, or the 2 California teams now, no, 3, geez. Raiders left town. San Francisco's still there, though.
Yes.
2 down south, 1 up north, up there in Silicon Valley where they create all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully the tech that's going to solve all this, but they're not allowed to go out of their houses for the next 3 months. They're already looking into potentially moving those teams out of California to play somewhere else. What are they going to do with the Giants and Jets in New Jersey? What are they going to do with the Patriots up there in Massachusetts? What are they going to do with any of those teams? Philadelphia Eagles, are they going to move them all inland? Because it feels like the middle of America here is living in a much different time than the people that are on the coast. And listen, I know there's always been a conversation that middle America is much different than the coast, and coastal elitist is something that people say. But at this exact time, that mindset of, hey, we live in a different world than them is it's reigning true at the moment. It is 100% reigning true. And I think there's a lot of people that are going to have to figure things out. But it feels like if you're listening to the NBA calls and then you're watching the curves, the curves getting flattened in a lot of places, it feels like this fall, even though California says, hey, we're not even letting our kids come back to school, it feels like we're going to have sports again full circle, which I need. I need the football world back. I need that this fall. I need it big time. I don't know how they're going to handle just moving teams out of cities that are in a bad spot, or how the Pac-12 is going to, like, what about Utah and Oregon, who are the best 2 teams in the Pac-12 last year? Will they be able to say, hey, you know what, for 1 year, let's go to Big 12. Let's play there because we're able to play. Will they make that type of thing? That's going to have to be a lot of agreements and a lot of contracts signed by a lot of people to get that done, new schedules and everything. I mean, there's a lot to unfold here, but I feel like we're potentially taking steps in the right direction, even though some governments, it feels like, are doing the things that they think are precautious, are going in the opposite direction. We're in a weird time right now where I think we're going like this, and then California government's like, nah, we are not. And then you listen to like New York, Philadelphia, Massachusetts, and everything. It's like, well, I just don't know how they're going to be able to hold back the middle of America over here where we live, where it's just like, hey, we're ready to go. And we're ready to roll the dice out there. That's what it feels like. Literally, 2 kids using my dad as a jungle gym yesterday as the Blue Angels. My dad had never met those kids. Those kids could have been carrying whatever. Who knows what germs they had got from the McDonald's play place they just came from, let alone maybe coronavirus. You don't know what those things are. Little human pet there jumping on Tim McAfee because the Blue Angels flew by. It's like, hey, Pat, are we not in a 6-foot social distancing, you little rodent? Get the hell out of here. So sorry to interrupt. If you're a man watching this, you deserve to have long, great, and you can do that now with our friends at Roman. Right now, you go to GetRoman.com, you get $10 off and free 2-day shipping on Roman swipes, which are guaranteed to make you have longer, more fulfilling every time you get in the sack. Now let's get back to the fornicating action.
No, and this California stuff doesn't concern me as much for the NFL because they don't have to keep up the facade of the student athlete or whatever, because it's not like they have, if like the colleges where the students can't come back but you keep college sports, that ruins that facade. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for them just because of the imagery, but I think the NFL is going to be all right.
By the way, I am a big advocate for the athlete part of the student human athlete title. I don't understand how that's the big angle, because if they're taking online classes, everybody still is.
True.
Right. You know what I mean? So I don't, because they're always like, well, if students can't be on campus, how come the football team can be there? And I agree completely. I would assume it's easier to test, though, the 150 people from the college football team on a daily basis as opposed to an entire campus who's taking the classes online. So I never really understood that whole thing, but that was a narrative that was getting pushed by a lot of people, and I can respect it. Anything that makes the NCAA have to feel exposed for, you know, student human athlete. These guys are no different than anybody else. It's like, well, they make $70 million for your school. They're a little bit different, but I understand.
We should all just agree that we're not going to question it. Like, if we're not going to question it.
No, I think the off the record conversations that are happening right now, I would like to hear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would like to hear the off the record, because you can't say anything publicly that could potentially put you in a spot where you're promoting unhealthy actions potentially, or risk, danger, death, all that stuff. But off the record, I assume there's a lot of conversations that are like, hey, we're doing, like, if California says no, it's like, that's that sounds like a them problem, right? That's not our problem. Like, absolutely, but we cannot. We believe like they have to come out, like the behind the scenes conversations right now, I think, because we are in a very unprecedented time. Nobody has ever seen the world like this. Nobody has seen the world shut down, sports shut down. Now the rolling back into the entire thing is going to be quite a controversy, no matter how it goes. In California, extending stay-at-home orders and then classes getting canceled. I assume New York is going to be doing something along the same. These cities and places that are hit very hard by this, they're going to have to, by the way, terrible that it happened, but they're going to have to adjust. I mean, it's going to be, we're going to test the unity of the group here. We're going to test the unity of how all these people, how together they are, because once you get some people who maybe see an opportunity to potentially take advantage and get a lot more dollars in their pocket, I would assume that is going to be something that's going to be tough to turn down for a lot of people, including that man right there who said, hey, this is going to be the local governments and schools to make the decision, because for me, I think we should play. But I'm not saying anything, which is a smart move.